All right. So, just what the hell is a retirement career? Is that your career that you get into and you're like, this is a career that I'm going to have for when I retire? Like, what is a retirement career? Elon Musk went on with Joe Rogan, called Social Security a Ponzi scheme. It's not. Honestly, you pay into it. It pays. It hasn't missed a payment. I don't know what kind of Ponzi scheme takes your money, invests it, and then pays it back to you. That doesn't sound like a Ponzi scheme. It just sounds like a retirement fund. Social Security was never meant to be your full livable fund. It was supposed to be supplemental. You want to fix Social Security? Update it. Update it for like today's world and the costs of now. Don't like raise the cap of contribution by percentage. Um, that would be an easy one. I think it's at 400,000 by your percentage of income. So obviously, if you make 400,000, you're not paying in 400,000. If you make 80,000 a year, you're not paying in 80,000. It's a percentage of your income to max. So like if you were making 10 million a year, you wouldn't be putting in 2 million a year into Social Security because they try to make it more equitable, more fair. Anyways, it's such a the guy runs into this thing, listen to it yourself, and he starts talking about, oh, it's your retirement career, and then he stammers and stutters, and then pivots and like reframes what he's talking about. If you watch it on Joe Rogan or a clip of it wherever, you'll see because his argument is flat, and so then he pivots and like starts talking about something else. I'm not a social security expert. I know a little bit about it because I was helping my parents get onto it. I learned a little bit more about it because I was looking into my own retirement, going, okay, I have this fund, and this fund. If Social Security is around, because I know everybody always wants to get rid of it because it's such a horrible thing. Shame. I hate poor people. You should hate them too. Obviously, I'm being sarcastic. It's ridiculous. Like, you need a floor for your society, and Social Security is that floor. It's a safety net. It's a social safety net. And the idea to just eradicate it, we already have massive inequality in this country. We already have just, hey, do better, pull yourself up. We're implementing more and more austerity measures, and it's austerity begets more austerity. That's what it does. We're finding waste, fraud, and abuse in the government to then fund tax cuts for wealthy people. Like, it's ridiculous. I can't believe people are like falling for it. I just don't get it. I like you want a healthy economy. Everyone in the economy needs to be healthy, not just the super rich. Like everyone in the economy needs to be healthy. So I hope nothing happens to Social Security other than maybe it gets updated to like, you know, relevant times and change the terms so that it can continue to function. Yes, we have a graying population. Like we have a graying population and we have a reduced birth rate because of the wealth of our country. You need to implement things that make people want and feel comfortable settling down and having kids if they want to have kids. You got housing that's out of the like to the moon in prices. People aren't going to be like, "Oh yeah, let me just have some kids and it'll be fine." How are you going to pay for that $3,000 mortgage a month? It's like, "Oh, I don't know." Right? That's why people aren't having kids because the economic situation. There's less work in the workforce or less workers in the workforce because of it and their labor force or whatever you want to call it technically. It's it's a cascading loop that you can't just look at one part of it and go, "Oh, we got to correct this. That'll fix it." No. And say you find money and save money for the government. That's great. How many times are you going to be able to repeat that? How repeatable is that? Hey, we found this waste over here. We don't really need it. Saved $100 billion. How many times are you going to come back next year and find that same wasteful $100 billion program? No, you already got rid of it last year. But then you implement systemic tax cuts that are going to reduce the cost of doing business for wealthy people when they have many different avenues to produce money and profit for themselves, it doesn't have to play out as economic production anymore. Not in our highly financialized economy. So when you give tax cuts to really wealthy people, they don't have to go the production route, increase like GDP or like that's a terrible. Don't even remember that I said that, okay? Because increasing GDP doesn't really mean anything. Like it's such a bad form. It's such a bad statistic. It measures one thing roughly, roughly measures it. The final sales of goods and services within an economy within a certain period of time, and that's it. That's all it measures. So, anyways, off track. Thanks for listening. If you stayed, it's freaking 6 minutes. My bad. So.